Oh, hey guys, what's up? I'm doing absolutely well. This is Nishan Bharadwaj, and I am creating this video specifically to make you understand, keeping fundamentals in mind alongside technicals in mind, why Bitcoin is still not bullish, and we have already anticipated and predicted this rally before the rate cut. We clearly quoted that Bitcoin might do 58,000 to 66, 67,000 US dollars, and we will not be bearish uh, in Bitcoin or in crypto for at least 10, 12, or 14 days after the first rate cut. That was our only update on the rate cuts, and what should happen after the rate cuts, what should happen after the rate cuts, and that was something which we clearly quoted. All right, now things are going as what we anticipated. Right, and now the major concern remains when to short, and we have a few bullish fundamental factors in mind, which a few Discord members keeps on talking about. I'll be discussing them as well, right? And I'll be telling you the technical reasons alongside the fundamental reasons why we have to get cautious right now, because things have played exactly the way we anticipated, and we will be looking forward to a decent shot in coming days, right? It's just a matter of time when we catch the top, right? So I'll get started with exactly. I'm looking forward to have a big short instead of a big long, right? First of all, there is no point to long these levels because risk to reward ratio would be extremely bad. No matter what token you want to long, risk to reward would be really bad. Your stop loss, your lower time frame support would be bare minimum 12 to 15%. So I don't see any point to long these levels unless you have got a huge wallet to keep on DCing, assuming that this token will keep on going up. So yeah, coming back to the point, why exactly Bitcoin is not uh, bullish, right? So I'll start with its pattern first. So Bitcoin is currently creating this lower high pattern, right? This lower high pattern, if I'd like to draw it, I'd keep it like this. This lower high, lower low, lower high, lower low, lower high, lower low, lower high, lower low, and now this is the higher high, right? And now again this will be a lower high, and now unless this lower high is breached, we remain in this lower high bearish trajectory. And if Bitcoin rejects from 68,000 or 69,000 to be on a safer side, or even if we go to 70,000 US dollars, we are bound to have this lower high formation valid, right? And if we see a rejection from these levels, whether it happens from here 66,000 or somewhere between 66 to 69,000, if we see a rejection from these levels, there will be high chances that we can visit 55,000 US dollars. So this is the one reason why Bitcoin is not still bullish in daily time frame and weekly time frame as well, because even if we look at weekly time frame, then as well it's creating this, I mean, there's nothing new to see here unless we breach out from this sort of a falling wedge. There is no point to get bullish, right? So This is point number one: lower high, lower high, lower high, right? And and the second point is S&P 500, right? So we have S&P 500 here. I have already marked it. This is S&P 500, uh, right? So now whenever S&P 500 has stopped, has formed the top, it has led to a massive correction in Bitcoin and in US equities as well. So here S&P 500 created the top uh, uh, on uh, on 16th of July, and then exactly from the date, exactly from the time S&P 500 created the top, exactly from then Bitcoin has started to show a bearish momentum, right? And since the time S&P 500 created the top, Bitcoin corrected by 29%, so almost 30%, right? And S&P 500 tried to create a top again here, as you can see here, right? Now this happened on 2nd of September, right? So now Bitcoin corrected again, uh, as soon as it created uh, the top, and Bitcoin corrected by 12 to 15%. Right. So yeah, it corrected by 12 to 15%. And now if S&P 500 creates the top again, if we see S&P 500 creating the top, I'll take you to the S&P 500 chart for that. So one day it does not look that nice, so eventually the top has to get created, right? I mean, even if it has to go up, it should correct, and distribution is a part of a healthy price action, right? We accumulate, we go up, and then we distribute, and then we correct, and then we accumulate, and then we distribute, right? So like, i'll I'll tell you, for example, here we saw distribution, here we saw distribution, and it led to a decent correction both the times, right? So whenever distribution happens, of course price corrects, and it's good for the healthy price action, to be honest. Even if you're bullish, even if you're inclined towards bullishness, you should really be embracing, and you should really be wishing for corrections to happen, because corrections are really healthy for a bigger rally. Any rally without any correction is sort of fabricated, right? So as soon as S&P 500 creates the top, which eventually it will lead to a decent correction in Bitcoin, because I'm not saying this data says this, because it has always happened. uh, last time but last The previous two times, when, I mean, this was not the top, so I'll not consider this, but whenever it has created a new top, new all-time high, it has led to a massive correction. So this was the all-time high, this was the top, right? And it corrected to 30%. I mean, Bitcoin corrected to 30% after it created the top. So now when S&P 500 creates the top, uh, doesn't matter whether it happens at current levels, or it happens at 5900 levels, but it is bound to form a new top and correct. right? And whenever it happens, it will lead to a massive correction in Bitcoin, because that is what previous data tells us, right? Bitcoin does not create a new all-time high after S&P 500 creates the all-time high, right? It will only create Bitcoin will only create a new all-time high if S&P 500 does not correct from the top, right? So I hope you're able to understand the difference. So if S&P 500 creates the top and corrects, it will lead to a massive correction in Bitcoin. But if S&P 500 creates the top and keeps on consolidating around that level, around that level without correcting, then we might see Bitcoin creating all-time high. But if S&P 500 forms the top, and like a temporary top, and it leads to a 5 to 7% correction in S&P 500, then it will lead to a massive 25-30% correction at least in Bitcoin, right? Because that has been happening in the past. So that's one reason. That's the second reason actually. First one was lower high, low high. Second one is a correlation with S&P 500, right? And third one would be the RSI, right? So RSI is trading at almost uh, so RSI is currently trading at almost uh, yeah. So RSI is trading at uh, almost 4 months high right now, and which is of course not a good sign, because one day RSI is being overbought, and it's like 4 months high, right? And this is another reason why you should get cautious, right? uh, but of course we can still keep on pumping while RSI consolidates and doesn't correct, but the data tells us that it's trading at a 4 months high, and it's also sort of creating this head and shoulder pattern in RSI as well, something like this, right? So I mean, yeah, something like this. So you also need to keep RSI in check, right? It will be forming the top really soon, uh, right? So this is the third reason. RSI trading at 4 months high is not a bullish sign, right? And my another reason uh, uh, for not getting really bullish right now would be Ethereum. Ethereum, until it breaches 2800 levels, it's creating a potential head and shoulder pattern, right? And unless we start to trade above 2811, we will be in a bearish trajectory, right? So this is how it looks like right now. So unless we breach through 2800 levels, we are not bullish on Ethereum, and if Ethereum corrects, we correct, right? And crypto total market cap is of course at a major resistance, but that's a factor which I am not considering right now. And also its RSI would be near to overbought, right? And now the most important factor which I have to tell you about is the previous price action of Bitcoin during the previous rate cut that happened in 2019, right? So the first rate cut which happened in 2019, when things were absolutely fine, things were absolutely normal, Bitcoin, right uh, after the first day of rate cut in 2019, we started to pump consecutively for 10 to 12 days. As you can see this chart, right, we pumped from 9,000 straight to 12,000. Similarly, what's happening right now, and this is one of the major reasons I anticipated a rally after the rate cut, because that's how it happened previously, right? Now, it created this temporary top at 12,300 US dollars, and then it started to correct, right? However, it looked like it was sort of consolidating, but it was gradually correcting, right? Because if anyone with the bullish bias would look at this chart, he would look at it like a consolidation. But this was, sort of a consolidation, but it led to a correction. Right now, this second rate cut happened here uh, on 23rd of September, and it led to a massive correction. So if we assume Bitcoin's local top as 24 as 12,000 US dollars, from those levels, by second rate cut it corrected by uh, by 57%. That's a massive correction, right? So, and here there was no catalyst at all during this time. S&P 500 was creating and range bound uh, close to all time highs, and despite having everything really normal in global fundamentals, and COVID did not really happen during this time. It happened later, after a few months of the rate cut. And despite everything was nice and everything uh, was great fundamentally, despite that, Bitcoin corrected by 57% right after the second rate cut. And if you look at the third rate cut, it uh, corrected by 69%, right? So first rate cut, it led to a pump, similarly what's happening right now, and then it sort of corrected a little, which made people uh, feel like it's a healthy retracement, and then it looked like it's consolidating. But then after the second rate cut, it corrected massively, and the entire correction was about 69% after the rate cuts in 2019, when things were really nice, when interest rates were not trading at 5%, which is right now. And this is one of the reasons why I'm not really bullish, because if 2019 rate cut could not pump Bitcoin when things are really nice, I'm not sure why Bitcoin will pump right now. And if we uh, current price, this is exactly similar happening what happened previously, right? We had a rate cut on 18th of September, and we already had 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10 consecutive, almost consecutive green days, right? This is exactly what happened in 2019 rate cut, right? And after that, 2019 rate cut behaved something like this. 2019 rate cut was exactly like this, right? And after that, it consolidated like this, right? And then it led to a further uh, correction. This was how 2019 rate cut price action was, right? And then it went up again, right? And 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 from there it corrected again massively. So this is something what happened in 2019 rate cut, when things were nice, and we had a major correction. So this is one of the prime reasons. Uh, but yes, of course, we have ETFs right now, and we have US presidential elections as well, right? So, these are the prime reasons I see right now for not being ultra bullish on on Bitcoin. And this rally does not really change a plan or something of that sort, because we were already anticipating this move. We already knew this gonna happen, right? Now the major point is, when do we short? uh, we'll see whether 66,000 67,000 is tested or not, because if we see a rejection from 67,000, that's the area we can short. And if it breaches out, then 68 or 69,000 is the area we can short, right? Or we can scalp short right now and convert them into swing shorts, as Bitcoin, uh, even if Bitcoin goes up, we can book our profits, and if it goes down from current market price, we can continue them as swing shorts, right? So uh, we just need to look at S&P 500. uh, we just don't want S&P 500 to create the top. If you're bullish, we want S&P 500 to keep on pumping, right? And the only bullish catalyst, the only bullish reason I see is US presidential elections, which is happening on 9th of, sorry, 5th of November, right? So the only reason Bitcoin or S&P 500 might keep on pumping until then, that's the only catalyst, or that's the only reason I see. I do not see any other reason why uh, markets will keep on pumping continuously, right? So even if we keep on going up, or if we stay sideways until US elections, then that would be more of a fabricated rally, and it will lead to a major correction, a bigger correction later on. So that's the only bullish catalyst we have right now. Otherwise, everything else technically looks really bad. I mean, if S&P 500 creates the top, we're going to see a major correction, and it's currently trading at all-time high. So suppose if we create a top here, and if we correct to 5600 levels, Bitcoin will see a major correction, right? So we don't want S&P 500 to create a top anytime soon. If you're bullish, and if you're bearish, then uh, you should wait for S&P 500 to create the top, and give us a bearish validation, so we can assume that top has been formed for next few days. And we will see Bitcoin following S&P 500, and it will lead to a correction in Bitcoin as well. So I guess I have covered every single point, from lower high to RSI, to previous price action of Bitcoin, uh, in 2019 rate cuts, to S&P 500, uh, why it will correct, why it should correct for a healthy PA, I mean, uh, healthy price action, and why the only catalyst for the markets to keep on going up is the US elections. That is the only reason market might stay up. Otherwise, there is no point markets gonna go like keep on forming all-time high, right? Distribution has to happen. That has been the law of the markets. Now the question is whether it happens, I mean, sooner, or it happens after the elections, right? That's the only concern. So I hope everyone was able to get what I tried to convey, and I'm sure we'll be on the right side, like we always have been. And in case you have any sort of questions, you can feel free to ask me in the DM or in the chat room, especially about this update. If you have any sort of concern regarding question regarding some point which I have made, feel free to ask me out in the chat room. I'll be more than happy to help you out and assist you through. So I hope everyone is doing well. I hope everyone in your family is doing well. Take good care of yours, and we'll be at the right side of the market as always. So trade responsibly, preserve your capital, and yeah, that is it. Take good care of yours and have a wonderful day. God bless you. Bye bye.